Happy Easter to those of you who celebrate, and happy beautiful spring day to everyone else, because it is gorgeous out there. We are going to open things up today with hymn number 361, so please join us in body and spirit in singing Enter, Rejoice, and Come In, the first three verses.
Good morning, everybody. So lovely to see you all. My name is Pastor Isabel Call. My pronouns are she and they. And I am just back from 3 months of sabbatical, and it is so good to see everyone here. And I know there are more people on Zoom too, so reaching out my joy to meet you all. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Manhattan, and happy Easter. Our greeter this morning is Mary Beth Reese, and Linda Johnson is our Zoom host. Visitors and newcomers, please know they're especially available to chat and answer questions, but other folks are as well. Thanks to Mark Mayfield for being our lead tech this morning. We gather on Sundays and throughout the week to support each other in our personal and community growth. Our theme this month is embracing possibility. And that's right on time for Easter. What is being reborn these days? And what could possibly be inside all those Easter eggs the kids are going to hunt later? Embracing possibility, embracing the possibility of surprise. Later, we'll share the gratitudes, joys, and sorrows that have arisen in our lives this week. You're warmly welcome to write them down on a paper nearby. Or if you're here on Zoom, there will be a time later in the service when we invite you to type those into the chat. And now we have our weekly ritual of announcements.
Good morning, all. My name is Hannah Morgan Phelps. I am our Office and Communications Coordinator here at UUFM, and my pronouns are they, she. And as Isabel said, I have our announcements for this week. The first is that after service, we're having an egg hunt, and I'm actually going to pass the mic briefly to Emily for more information about that.
All right, friends, we're going to be doing, we're going to be making loud noises with the microphone and then telling you about the egg hunt that's going to be happening after the service. So, some sneaky little bunnies are going to be hiding these eggs during the service. Some of them are already hidden. Shh, don't tell anyone. And we are going to have our youngest kids get a little bit of a head start. And then we are going to let all of the kids run loose and gather all of the eggs. Now, if you did not bring a basket of your own, no worries. We have extra baskets here that you can use. Also, we do want to keep the baskets here so we can use them another year. So, if you want to then collect all of the insides of your delightful egg goodies into what we have our like little paper bags, and you can even put like spring stickers or whatever on them. You can like decorate your own. We do have an option for you to be able to carry your goodies home. There's also some activity sheets, coloring pages, word crosswords and stuff like that, in case some people are going to take a little longer with the egg hunt. Some people are going to be done a little quicker. So enjoy yourselves, have a great time, and we'll see you after the service.
Tomorrow, on Monday, April 6th, we are having our community team meeting. These are open. If you would like the Zoom link, email me. And then next week, next Sunday, is our annual meeting. The agenda should be in your email. If it's not, talk to me or Mac, if for some reason you didn't get the agenda. So if you are a member, please plan to come next Sunday after service to our annual meeting. We're voting on important things. It's important that we get quorum. Please be here. This coming Wednesday, on the 8th, is my helping hangout. These are times to come chat with me about UUFM-related technology, get some help related to it. I am not an IT professional, but I do my best, and from the people who've come, my best is pretty good. And then 2 more announcements. One of those is that at the end of the month, on the 25th, is Little Apple Pride. We are scheduled to walk in the parade and have a table at the festival. If you would like to walk in the parade or help be one of the people volunteering to sit at the table, make sure that we have someone there to talk about UUFM, please talk to Kathy Swenson to coordinate that. And then my final announcement for today is that the Income Expense Discrepancy Task Force sent out a survey to gather information, people's thoughts on stuff. Catherine sent out the link again today, so if you have not filled that out, please do so. If you have questions about that, I didn't ask if it was okay to share, but I got a signal, great. If you have questions about that, please talk to Catherine. And then I will pass to Tom for our acknowledgement, I think? Yes? Tom for our acknowledgement.
Thank you, Hannah. My name is Tom. Wait a second. Yes, my name is Tom, and my pronouns are he, him. Acknowledgement, yes. As we begin to arrive in this space, I invite you to become aware of all that holds you. The chair that you're sitting on, the floor to which the gravity connects you, this space with all its memories and all who have cared for it over the decades, this land and all the human and more than human beings whose lives have been woven within it over generations, over millennia. And let us remember that just as we are held, we too hold this community and all those who will come after us. In this holding, let us embrace possibility.
Again, good morning, everyone. My name is Sage Fipsinkle, and I will be reading the words of Reverend Michelle Collins as Tom lights our chalice. We light this flame for what is not yet known, for the questions that stretch us, the hopes that whisper, and the courage that flickers on uncertain days. We kindle this flame for the beginnings that are only just becoming.
And now let us sing again. This is hymn number 344. Welcome the choir up, and if anyone else would like to rise in body or spirit, feel free. A promise through the ages rings.
Testing. Wonderful. Thank you, Mark. Hello again, everyone. We are going to be having our time for all ages right now. And I am really excited to share this story, but don't have a hard copy of it. So what we have is a pre-recorded reading of it that we're going to play for you in just a moment. So please join me in hearing the story, The Dot.
The Dot by Peter H. Reynolds. Art class was over, but Vashti sat glued to her chair. Her paper was empty. Vashti's teacher leaned over the blank paper. "Ah, a polar bear in a snowstorm," she said. "Very funny," said Vashti. "I just can't draw." Her teacher smiled. "Just make a mark and see where it takes you." Vashti grabbed a marker and gave the paper a good, strong jab. There. Her teacher picked up the paper and studied it carefully. She pushed the paper toward Vashti and quietly said, "Now sign it." Vashti thought for a moment. Well, maybe I can't draw, but I can sign my name. The next week, when Vashti walked into art class, she was surprised to see what was hanging above her teacher's desk. It was the little dot she had drawn, her dot, all framed in swirly gold. I can make a better dot than that. She opened her never-before-used set of watercolors and set to work. Vashti painted and painted. A red dot, a purple dot, a yellow dot, a blue dot. The blue mixed with the yellow. She discovered that she could make a green dot. Vashti kept experimenting. Lots of little dots in many colors. If I can make little dots, I can make big dots too. Vashti splashed her colors with a bigger brush on bigger paper to make bigger dots. Vashti even made a dot by not painting a dot. At the school art show a few weeks later, Vashti's many dots made quite a splash. Vashti noticed a little boy gazing up at her. "You're a really great artist. I wish I could draw," he said. "I bet you can," said Vashti. "Me? No, not me. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler." Vashti smiled. She handed the boy a blank sheet of paper. "Show me." The boy's pencil shook as he drew his line. Vashti stared at the boy's squiggle, and then she said, "Please, sign it."
All right, thank you all for sharing in that story with me. We're now going to sing the children out, and those who would like to join me in the back for some religious education can follow me.
As you can tell, at every of our Time for All Ages, we draw on a wide range of sources for wisdom and inspiration here. I often tell people when they ask me about Unitarian Universalism that we don't often read Christian scripture together here. And it doesn't anchor our rituals. But our spiritual ancestors include heretical Christians and even Jesus himself. To reflect on these roots, Jane Pelletier is going to read the story of Easter as told by a brilliant mid-20th century Unitarian religious educator, Sophia Lyon-Fawes. And if you're interested in this book, it's up here on the altar. You can check it out later. She insisted that much of the Bible was developmentally inappropriate for children, and which, makes a lot of sense if you look at it. She worked tirelessly to interpret it and also other religious texts and sources in ways that could support young people to grow in compassion and critical thinking.
This is from Jesus the Carpenter's Son, chapter 20. The end becomes the beginning. Jesus' followers and supporters returned to Galilee brokenhearted. In their grief, they clung to one another for comfort. They were struggling to understand why God had allowed Jesus to be killed. Surely one so sincerely right with God, so overflowing in goodwill, did not deserve the punishment due a criminal and a rebel. For many days, no one could find an answer to these tormenting questions. As they tried to look to the future, they could see nothing but desolation. They had hoped that Jesus would save their nation in some way. They did not know how, but somehow he would be their deliverer. Now his voice was forever stilled. The Roman conquerors were too powerful even for him. He saved others. Himself he could not save. But slowly a strange thing began to happen. As they gathered day after day in each other's homes, they began to recall the wonderful experiences they had with Jesus. They told one another of happenings they had almost forgotten. The very tone of Jesus' voice and the look on his face would come back to them so vividly that it seemed sometimes as though Jesus were right there again with them. Some had dreams in which Jesus came back and talked with them. He seemed so real that the dreamers could not tell whether they had been asleep or awake when they saw him. The rumor spread that Jesus had actually come out of his burial place. Finally, several of them dreamed that they saw Jesus rise up from the earth, higher and higher, until he disappeared entirely. They believed he had gone to heaven to be with God. And after that, their dreams of seeing him and talking with him stopped. But for these people, to believe that God had brought Jesus back to life in this way after he had been killed made a tremendous impression. It changed even their memories of him. Some decided that Jesus was truly the Savior for whose coming they had been yearning, but that he was a Savior for all the world, not for the Jews alone. They believed also that Jesus actually would come back again to live on this earth. Jesus would become King of Kings and Lord of Lords. The great dreams of the prophets for worldwide peace and righteousness would then come true. Years passed by. The people who knew Jesus died. Their children and their children's children also died. Nearly 2,000 years have come and gone. Still, Jesus has not come back. There are those who are still hoping for his second coming. But others believe that this Jesus, the carpenter's son, will never live again on the earth. What has been handed down to us from generation to generation regarding his life is the world's great treasure. His spirit never needs to die. Alleluia, So may it be.
Thank you, Jane. Like the people in Jesus' community after his death, many of us are tormented by what is happening in the world and the seemingly unanswerable why. This being Easter, my job is to bring a message of hope. But we can't rush through the reality of desolation. This morning, for example, while we may feel relief, considerable relief, hearing about the success of a harrowing rescue mission in Iran, we can't gloss over the terror of the conditions that led to it. To do so would enable further poor decisions on the part of those putting our human family in harm's way. For traditional Christian communities, getting to Resurrection Sunday means moving through a time in the wilderness, a month of Lenten renunciation, and immersing in emotions of betrayal, guilt, longing, grief, and hopelessness. Before resurrection, we must accept death. There's a story told by Natalie Goldberg of a Zen abbot in a small Korean town being sacked by a rebel army. Everyone fled the temple except the abbot. When the rebel general burst in, he was incensed that the abbot didn't greet him, let alone accept being conquered. "Don't you know," shouted the general, "that you are looking at one who can run you through without batting an eye?" "And you," said the abbot, "are looking at one who can be run through without batting an eye." The general's scowl turned into a smile. He bowed and left the temple. There are those great beings who can face their own death with equanimity. But even Jesus struggled when the time came. Dying is not for the faint of heart. So we must develop our hearts, because it's coming for us all. There are things we can do to prepare. In fact, many spiritual teachers would say that's what we're here for. The words of Richard Rohr, this is an extended quote from his Easter sermon in 2016. It's still a good one. "Death is not just physical dying, but going to the full depth of things, hitting bottom beyond where you are in control. And in that sense, we all probably go through many deaths in our lifetime. These deaths to the small self are tipping points, opportunities to choose transformation. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people turn bitter and look for someone to blame. So their death is indeed death for them, because they close down to growth and new life. Now, when you go into the full depths of anything, you come out onto the other side. And when you come out on the other side, you may know that you've been led there, taken there. You're inside of a larger space. You're not holding on any longer. You're being held by a larger source. Surely this is what it means to be saved. Being saved doesn't mean that you go to church. Being saved doesn't mean you're better than anyone else. It means you've allowed and accepted the mystery of transformation. As a spiritual leader and community organizer, my intention is to offer support for all stages of that journey, to inspire courage and curiosity, not bitterness, when we're faced with death. The job is not to rescue anyone from suffering, but to steward transformation. It's all of our jobs. I mean, this congregation just held that job for 3 months in my absence. We do this for each other. The Quaker community organizer Parker Palmer insisted that this work is done both in community and in solitude. Solitude, he wrote, means never living apart from oneself, being fully present to ourselves whether or not we are with others. Community means never losing the awareness that we're connected to each other, being fully open to the reality of relationship whether or not we're alone. Solitude and community make us whole, like breathing in and out. One of my sabbatical projects was to study Parker Palmer's frameworks for circles of trust. A circle of trust is an intentional gathering of people with no agenda other than creating a trustworthy space for everyone present to listen to their own inner wisdom. 5 Wednesday afternoons, as the US president succumbed to bitterness and blame and led us into senseless war, about 40 of us gathered on Zoom. We practiced silence together until someone was led by their inner teacher to speak aloud. And then we would rest in silence again, allowing meaning to emerge in each of our hearts. To survive and persist as agents of nonviolent social change, Palmer writes, we need a sound rationale underlying our intentions, a sensible strategy, a continuing community of support, and inner ground on which to stand. In the course of my regular rhythm as your pastor, I co-create with you rationale, strategy, and support. But developing inner ground requires time outside of one's regular routine. I'm grateful for 3 months of solitude so that I could find this ground. I'm also confident that doing so is essential to my ongoing effectiveness as a leader. In Parker Palmer's words, we can be peacemakers in our small part of the world only when we are at peace with ourselves. And I think again of that Zen abbot, at peace with himself in a time of war. A clergy sabbatical is different from an academic sabbatical, which is often meant to produce something publishable. Publishing is part of the academic job description, and it needs the boost that comes from relief from regular duties. The part of my job description that falters in the daily grind and is restored through time away is presence. My ability to be present to others grows from my ability to be present to myself. And presence with myself has in turn been nurtured by compassionate witness of friends, spiritual guides, and the more than human world. When I'm lovingly held by another or my own presence, there's a wise, creative inner force that leads me into new knowledge and inspires me to create beauty from that knowledge. And so my practice of solitude, going into the depths, is interwoven with practices of creative expression. Taking a few months break from the role of pastor, I've embodied dancer, writer, and artist. Not to perform or to produce something of value, but simply to give shape and voice and color to my truths. What emerges doesn't have to be pretty or palatable or ready for the pulpit. This is really important inner work as a recovering perfectionist. Maybe for anyone thriving or trying to thrive in a world that compels and coerces us to value achievement over engagement. It's essential for confronting the fear of trying new and innovative things. Creative expression, our director of religious education, Emily, told me the other day, is a birthright. What a radical and world-transforming idea at a time when even birthright citizenship is being challenged. To value going deep, finding true, and creating beauty and life for ourselves from what we've learned is to embrace a huge vision Not only does every human being have the right to physical safety, and we do, we also have a right to emotional and spiritual and creative freedom. The comic artist and teacher Tom Hart wrote this. A student asked me, what is the point when there is so much of everything everywhere? She said, I'll never be good as other creators. I don't even want to be. I don't even want to try. It's okay, he responded. You can stop comparing. Breathe. Look inside. Look outward. Make your noises. Seek guidance. We were meant to live in small groups, and you are meant to be an artist there. When the UUFM board sat together in the art-steeped home of Dick and Sylvia Beeman last fall and chose embracing positive alternative futures as the pathway for our congregation, we tapped into an understanding of the creative fervor of this community. What power to create possibility in this community of communities in Manhattan, Kansas, might be unleashed if we each identified as creative? What depths and deaths and resurrections would be possible if our birthright creativity were fully available to us as a resource? Last month, I held in my hand a microphone for the first time since my sabbatical started. I was at the Manhattan Mennonite Church, which I attended most Sundays. I was in town. And it was time for prayers of the people. I stood up to convey my gratitude to the Mennonite congregation for holding me during my time of solitude. In that moment of compassionate witness from them and also from myself, I welled up with tears and I couldn't speak anymore. Pull it together, Call, I heard a voice in my head, in my dad's voice. He would say that to himself sometimes, and I've taken it on so that I can rally when I need to do hard things. But in this case, I didn't need to pull it together. I could just follow those tears to what they were teaching me. Pastor Melissa was there. She took back the mic and she transformed what I had shared into an affirming and connecting prayer. This wouldn't have happened if I'd been in a pastor role that morning. As a general rule, worship leaders try to avoid crying. In seminary, we're taught to preach from scars, not wounds. And that's so that participants don't feel like they have to take care of the preacher. That would distract them from their own spiritual journeys. It's not just a Unitarian Universalist, set of advice to ministers. Our Christian colleagues hear it too. And that's actually a little ironic because their model preacher, Jesus, was said to be oozing blood during some of his most important ministry with them. Obviously, Jesus is a special case. As the model preacher in Christianity, he embodies resilience and what I might call self-responsibility. Because in all the gospel accounts of his ministry, after being brutally assaulted on the cross, he doesn't need anyone to save him or heal him or fix him. He's not there to be rescued. And no one feels compelled to try. They actually know that he's all right. I like to imagine Jesus' community as a circle of trust. Now, there's a time and a place for circles of trust. If someone is being harassed or kidnapped, you don't just witness and let their inner teacher protect them from harm. There's a call for you to act. But when we're safe, or even when we're not, but there's nothing that can be done, then busying ourselves trying to save each other just scares away the soul. One of the 11 touchstones for a circle of trust is no fixing, saving, advising, or correcting each other. This is one of the hardest guidelines for those of us who like to help, but it's vital to welcoming the soul, to making space for the inner teacher. Jesus' community trusted him to listen to his inner teacher, who he called God. Even his open wounds didn't distract them from his message. In fact, because they had cultivated so much trust, his wounds could be the message. The most miraculous thing of all, writes Richard Rohr, is that God uses the very thing that would normally destroy you, the tragic, the sorrowful, the painful, the unjust, to transform and enlighten you. Now you are indestructible, and there are no absolute dead ends. Jesus was vulnerable and indestructible. He didn't need his people to rescue him. And here's a heretical corollary. It's not his job to rescue anyone else either. He's got plenty to say, but he never wraps his post-resurrection words around anyone to drag them out of suffering. What he offers is an invitation into his vision of creation, creativity, beloved community. Our ability to choose whether and how to participate is essential. His community finally realized their own agency when his death was not the end of their life. Richard Rohr again. Jesus' resurrection is not so much a miracle that we can argue about, believe, or disbelieve, but an invitation to look deeper at what is always happening in the life process itself. Jesus, or any one of us, cannot really die because we're participating in something eternal. As Unitarian Universalists, we know that our bodies do die. People we care about die. Many of our hopes and ideas and dreams die. Death is an ending, but the end becomes the beginning. There are always seeds of new life. There is always something that sings. You can't sprout your seeds all by yourself. You need an ecosystem. But also, no one can sprout your seeds for you. It's up to you to allow what used to be to compost into soil, to trust the changes in the darkness, to receive water or even ask for it, and to thank the sun. It's up to you to embody resilience and self-responsibility. It's up to you to make meaning from your suffering. Nobody else can do that for you. It's up to you to remember and make peace with your past, to move artfully into your own future. But on Easter, and always, please remember, you're not alone.
We go. Good morning, everyone. My name is Linda Johnson, and my pronouns are she, her. Let us enter into a spirit of generosity. When we give, we say yes to the natural cycle of abundance in our lives, and we say yes to the building beloved communities within and beyond our walls. To live our faith in the larger world, throughout the month of April, we share our gifts with our Helping Hands organization, Sunflower Children's Collective. The Sunflower Children's Collective is a program that involves CASA, court-appointed special advocates for children who are in court, probably because of abuse or neglect, And it also provides a bridge for children to meet with guardians and parents safely. And it's a really good organization. So money placed in envelopes in the offering basket will go to the Sunflower Children's Collective. Unmarked donations will go into the UUFM General Fund to support our mission. Many of us donate online to the Fellowship, the Helping Hands, and or the Blessing Box at uufm.net/donate, or you can use the QR code on your order of service. As our basket goes around, let us remember that generosity is about so much more than money. It's also about the ways we show up in the world, the way we support each other, smile at strangers, care for neighbors, and listen to friends. When the basket comes to you, you may add any written gratitudes, joys, or sorrows. Even if you aren't putting anything in the basket today, you can pause while holding the basket as a ritual of thanks for the generosity of our world. If you're here on Zoom, now is the time to type your gratitudes, joys, and sorrows into the chat, and also turn on your cameras if you'd like to be seen in the sanctuary. Let us move now into generous presence.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you. We've got a little bit of special music for you now. This is a song. What was the original name of the Dick? What was the original name of the hymn?
There is a power much higher than I.
Okay. So Dick heard a hymn. It was a more traditional Christian hymn. It had a wonderful melody, but the lyrics were not necessarily for us, for the UUFM. So he took it upon himself to arrange this piece for 5 voices. What we have started referring to as reclaiming the music by adding UU-specific lyrics. So there is a power, and this is...
In you and me.
Yes, in you and me, and we're going to sing it for you now. Do we need our starting notes?
Because that's got us.
There is a
a power in you and me. Our spirits flower when our minds are let free. My conscience is my master. It's my pilot. It's my guide. The least among us shall walk by our side. All creation we cherish, we will no other land. We do proclaim our solemn vow. Find heaven in the here and now. There is a power in me and you. Life's blessings shower when we hold to what we know is true. Let no one be a stranger to me. Let me see the good in all. Let love for each co-traveler be my purpose, my all creation we cherish, we will no other land known. We do proclaim our solemn vow. Find heaven in the here and now.
I don't think there's any need for closing words. There is a power in you and me. There's a power in us. Let us go forth into the spring, aware of our power. And I was so pleased to find out there's a new tradition we have now to close our services in this friendly hymn as we leave this friendly place. So I invite you to rise in body or spirit as you prepare to move into your day. It's number 414.